Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk a little bit about the Ripple versus SEC case. It's going to be a relatively quick video. I want to show you what led up to where we are now. And I have a theory around this, so take a look. Why has Ethereum been completely left alone while the SEC sued Ripple and tied them up in a court for over 2 years? It's not SEC versus Ripple, it's SEC Ethereum versus Ripple XRP, and always has been. The Ethereum founders and their disguised ICO whales wouldn't hold up for a month in an SEC lawsuit, and they all know it. Now, in this video, you're going to see them talk about the JP Morgan coin, and Brad's going to talk a little bit about the case as well. Take a listen.
Well, let me start by saying I think it's great for the blockchain and crypto industry to have players like JPM leaning in. Thumbs up. Yep. That's great. That's the only nice thing I'm going to say about this.
You mentioned Jamie Dimon, so let's bring it back to Jamie and JP Morgan. What do you think is going to be the thing that they will have to change the most or lose market share and somebody else is going to do better, faster, serve their clients better than JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs?
You can just hear the bankers panicking right now.
But what
feel the panic in their voices.
Okay, so I got asked this last week. I was speaking at a Morgan Stanley conference, and somebody asked me, there was this set of headlines about, about the JPM coin.
Right. Our company Consensus has been very prominent since the start of the Ethereum ecosystem. I can attest that JP Morgan was there right from the start before public mainnet was even launched.
This guy was from Morgan Stanley who was interviewing me. I said, so is Morgan Stanley going to use the JPM coin? And he's like, well, probably not. And so, well, is Citi going to use the JPM coin? Is B of A going to use the JPM coin? Is PNC? And the answer is no.
Take notice how Brad said no one's going to use the JP Morgan coin. But the other guy said that JP Morgan has been there all along the way. Let's continue.
Consensus has been working with JP Morgan for quite a long time, more recently, to discuss how we might work together more intimately. And so
does that mean we're all going to have these different coins? And does that mean we're back to where we are, where there's lack of interoperability? So what? I don't get it.
The Quorum team is heavily engaged with us for at least a year to facilitate transition, and we're working together on a shared roadmap that we've defined and will continue to define together.
One more quick thing on the JPM coin. So let's think about this. The JPM coin, they announced for institutional customers, if you give them $1 in deposits, they'll give you a JPM coin that you then can move within the JPM ledger. Wait a minute, just use the $1.
Right. JP Morgan.
I think the problem is they know the JP Morgan coin doesn't work. But remember, at one point, that was the XRP killer. Let's continue.
Started paying attention to Ethereum blockchain technology even before public mainnet was released. So they started experimenting and building out some things when we were still building proofs of concept.
Well, I really don't understand. If you're just moving it within the JPM ledger, and it has to be dollar to dollar, a one-to-one backing, it honestly doesn't actually, I don't understand what problem that solves.
They had a handful of different teams that focused on blockchain technology, and we've interacted with them roughly from the start. We started to interact with them in a really concerted way around the time of the advent of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So we were two of the major drivers of that initiative and have been two of the major drivers of activity inside the EEA since launch, really.
Now, back to my first answer. Look, if it solves the problem of JPM being associated as they're leaning into crypto, yay. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
It's after the press planning They plant the press stories, they put out lawsuits, they create as much of a fuss as possible, they try to get their government friends involved.
Now, some of that was from all the way back in 2018, and JP Morgan was trying to come up with an alternative to XRP and RippleNet. And back then, people were worried. They thought, wow, this is going to be the XRP killer, right? But you see how Brad talked about it there? He knows that it's not a good solution. And now we fast forward to 2023, and we have people all of a sudden again saying that the government and FedNow is eventually going to use JP Morgan's solution. They're not, because the solution doesn't work unless you utilize it inside of its own network, inside of the JP Morgan ledger. And, you know, everybody always worries about everything when it comes to XRP. But we're at a point right now where we're at fact and myth. You know, I still feel that this case against Ripple is still somehow a sham. And I'm going to talk about why I feel that way. And I want to know what your thoughts are in the comment section. But then there's myth. And myth is what people create all over crypto Twitter around XRP. Somebody could come out right now with a coin and say, this is the XRP killer. And right away, people will go with that idea because it's a narrative. But then you got to also rewind back and look at the facts. There's never going to be an XRP killer because you cannot recreate on-demand liquidity. Pro-XRP lawyer says U.S. is moving backwards on regulatory clarity. And of course we are, because we have no clarity. You could go back through the last 5 years, all the way back to 2018, and there has not even been framework worked on during this time. Instead, now we're at a different time. We're at a time where the U.S. government, through anti-crypto legislation that they're trying to create, is only hurting retail investors more. It doesn't help the crypto community at all because we're not getting regulations. We're getting nothing but shakedowns right now. Could Ripple end up being labeled a commodity? And then we have two organizations fighting around crypto, the CFTC and the SEC. The CFTC labels XRP a commodity, where SEC labels it a security. I still feel that the CFTC has a better understanding of cryptocurrency. I think Gary knows that XRP is a cryptocurrency, but he doesn't want to admit it because he's being handled by someone else. Someone else is pulling the strings at the SEC. Then there's this. So Ripple, Tranglo go live. SEC document, payment processing. Provider will use Ripple solution in the capacity of a receiver of payment transactions, the received amounts, which use XRP as a bridge currency between the originating currency and the payout currency. Now, this comes right from the SEC.gov because they know what it is, but it's not time yet. I still feel that JP Morgan needed some solution just to slow Ripple down long enough. But now we're starting to see JP Morgan and Ripple come together more and more as well. Ripple had stated in their own regulatory framework that a member of the SEC and CFTC will work within the company. You need to know everything exactly as the bankers are planning. They all know each other, bankers and regulators. And I think the bankers and everyone else is working together because we see right here from Ripple, 235 team members and engineering talent. Then you see the experience, and JP Morgan is listed on there. That's what I said, and that was back in June of 2018. Today, I think Ripple and JP Morgan are working even more together now because I did a few videos recently where I pointed that out. And I think it's all about staying relevant for JP Morgan. But then there's also the idea that the government doesn't want us holding crypto because you see how you can't buy XRP at certain exchanges. Well, take a listen to this.
Anything, Bill?
So I'm going to look at it from a different perspective, right? I think the biggest problem in the industry as we speak right now, especially from a regulation perspective, is that the government does not understand cryptocurrency, right? You can say this is very obvious currently with the SEC case with XRP right now, They initially labeled it as a security, took it off all the US exchanges, and now they're slowly losing the case. I just think the current.
Did you hear what he said? They're slowly losing the case. Let's continue.
Framework does not equip any agency to deal with or regulate cryptocurrency. I believe there should be a brand new branch or a new agency which has smart people that are well versed and educated in cryptography and the technology to manage and regulate the industry. The old rules do not apply here. And I'll give you an example, right? Traditionally, stocks, if you say one company is fraudulent or it's a scam, you just delist it from Wall Street and nobody can purchase it. That's not true with cryptocurrency, right? XRP was at this moment, even from a US government perspective, they've said it's a security, all the exchanges have delisted it, but you can purchase it from your peer. You can still purchase it from another exchange. So even if the US government today decides to ban Bitcoin, you still cannot take it out of your country because it's decentralized and you can purchase it from a neighbor or somebody sitting right here, right now.
You take notice to what he said? Even though the government is trying to stop the sale of XRP, you will always still be able to buy it because it's decentralized. And like I always said, if somebody comes up with a way to keep you from getting something, you are going to try even harder to get it, because now it also adds that hint of like you're anti-government by buying it. That's why crypto was always so wanted in the past. Like, people had to have it because it was anti-establishment, anti-government. And it was a rebellious thing. You had to get some of it, at least. And now we're seeing it happen through anti-crypto laws and exchanges delisting XRP, but we're always going to be able to get it. That's what's great about owning this cryptocurrency. And, you know, as it becomes less available, what do you think happens? The price goes up as well. So every time they close off an on-off ramp, the value should actually go up because people have to have it. But I wanted to point out two things in this video. Number one, I wanted to show you what happened around Ethereum because they were always there. No matter what, all the way back in 2018, they wanted to stay relevant that long ago. The case came to slow everything down around Ripple. Now I think things are moving quicker because Ripple's willing to work with JP Morgan more today than they were back in 2018. But as time goes on, this case is going to come to an end this year. And even Brad Garlinghouse said, you know, it's going to wrap up probably in the single digits this year. So that means most likely before October. And when that day comes, that's going to be one of the greatest days we're ever going to experience, because all of a sudden we're going to be breaking out calculators. We're going to be looking at our phones, checking our XRP holdings. You're going to have different price points at that point because everybody's going to be excited. All of a sudden, $10 isn't the stopping point. 20 is not the stopping point. Now we're going to be looking at $100 or a $500 XRP. Because that's the way the narrative shifts. When excitement sets in, everything changes. And that's when another great thing about crypto, you see it with meme coins right now. People all over crypto Twitter, I have to get more of this coin or that coin. And they're garbage coins. But they want to make that quick money. That's what's going on. With XRP, it's a lot different because you're invested in utility and use case. So at some point, we're going to be seeing the prices on XRP based on utility, based on being used in the real world. It's going to be far different than what you see with a meme coin or a regular cycle. It's going to be life-changing, and I cannot wait to get there. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you watching my videos. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.